Good evening, everyone. I show the time as 6:31. This regular meeting of the mayor and council is now called to order. Roll call, all council members are present. I do want to welcome our newest council member, Adam Conaway, and Teresa Price just signed up for another 4 years. So welcome back to both of you. With that, we'll rise for a pledge of allegiance, followed by an invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Powell, will you do an invocation, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's pray. Father, we are so grateful to gather again and just have opportunity to exercise democracy and freedom and liberty, Lord. We thank you for those who have signed up and new council members who have come on, that they would be the torchbearers of protecting those rights in this community. And Lord, tonight we ask that you would bless what's said, and bless those who are hearing it, and Lord, help the decisions to be wise decisions. Lord, there's a lot of business in this community right now, and we do need your wisdom and your guidance. And Lord, we ask you to care over those who work here and implement the instructions of this council to the community. Let them serve as though they are working for you, Lord. We thank you for those who care enough to come and be a part of this meeting, and Lord, we ask you to bless them. Help the work of this council to bless this community so that it can continue to grow to be great. We thank you for all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tom. Okay, I do have several announcements. All of these announcements take place in the community room, so I will leave that portion off. We have our council meeting tonight. We have municipal court January the 21st at 1 p.m. We have a tree board meeting January 22nd at 6 p.m. We have a planning commission meeting January the 27th at 6 p.m. Our next council work session February the 5th at 6:30. Historic preservation meeting February 10, 6 p.m. Downtown Downtown Development Authority, February 12, 9 a.m. Pardon me. And our next council meeting, February 17th at 6:30 p.m. We have some employee introduction and recognition. Okay. Amber with the downtown rundown.
Good evening. First on the rundown for January is our farmers market. Our first farmers market of the year was held on Saturday, January 17th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. 17 vendors were set up, and our Main Street Chair, Ann Young, who manages the market, reported that despite the cold weather, the turnout was great. The next market will be Saturday, February 21st in Friendship Park, and will highlight pet adoption with guests from Countryside Vet, Walton County Humane Society, and Southern Star Horse Rescue. Next on the list is the Chocolate Crawl on Friday, February 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. The downtown businesses will participate in our annual Chocolate Crawl. This event is hosted by Main Street Commission each year around Valentine's Day, and this year the theme is sitcoms and sweets, so you can dress up like your favorite sitcom character and enjoy a night out collecting chocolates and treats from the participating businesses. Next up is the Black History Month celebration. The Social Circle Main Street Commission will host our Black History Month celebration on Saturday, February 28th in Friendship Park. We're currently looking for vendors to participate in this celebration. Attendees will be able to enjoy a celebration with music, food, and fun activities. We currently have 18 vendors signed up to participate, and applications are still being accepted. And then last on the list is Coffee and Conversations. This is our monthly networking event that we have. It always falls on the last Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. Different businesses in downtown host each month. This month, since we're starting out the year, it will be at the Welcome Center. So Social Circle Main Street will be hosting that 9 a.m. on Tuesday, January 27th. Everyone is encouraged to attend and bring a friend. And that's all I have for the rundown tonight.
Thank you, Amber. Any questions for Amber? Thank you.
Thank you.
Citizens request, Councilmember Jackson, I think you had someone?
Yeah, I have, I guess the administrator at the nursing home, he's having issues with, trying to get a permit on a building. So he just wanted to come and speak to the council on some of the issues that he's having and some of the enduring cost that is costing him on, the building, just a normal, already prefab building that he had. So if I can get the majority of the council to approve to allow him to speak, grateful.
Consent? Okay.
All right. Jason?
Thank y'all for letting me come up here and speak. I think we started this process in September. We got rid of a office trailer that was needing a lot of work, that the company we were renting it from didn't want to come do the work, but it was a safety hazard for the employees that were working out of that trailer. Now, it's an office for them, but most of their duties are performed in the facility. So they really just have a desk and they store files out there. The activity director stores activity stuff out there. Housekeeper stores some of her stuff out there. So it's mainly just an office to say they have an office. So speaking with Ken Zidell, told him I was gonna get rid of the building because it wasn't safe. He's fine with that. We bought one. The problem we were having is getting a definite answer from Veritas. When we sent them the stuff saying what we were gonna do with the building, they said we needed an engineer to stamp the plans. The engineer has stamped the plans that we sent originally to the city, but it wasn't stamped saying that we were gonna do electrical and stuff like that. I understand that part. So we got that taken care of with electrical company. They sent over plans, we sent that back. Then Veritas finally came back and said, well, we looked up on their website and they build storage buildings. Okay, well, they do that as well. But it's the same building that a lot of people put in their yard and they live out of it. We finally got Veritas, that's back and forth, then it was, are we too far from the bathroom? But the trailer that was out there before didn't have a bathroom in it. And this one's a little bit closer to the building, so we met that regulation. We are not in the historic district, so we didn't have to fool that part. We just wanted to get it inspected, do everything right, get it passed. After several emails with Ashley, we finally got Veritas out there. But he even asked all that stuff and Ashley said that we've already did that part. Then his answer was, we need the original engineer who stamped the plans to submit the plans. I called him back. He said the reason they put on there is not for people to occupancy, for people to be in it, is because people buy it off their lot, put it on the land and move into it. So it don't meet the energy requirements. I said, well, we're gonna insulate it, we're gonna do everything that's gonna be done right because it's still gonna be inspected every year by Ken and his staff. And it has to be safe for the employees to be in there because we have OSHA inspections as well. They have the right to go inspect that building to make sure they're in a safe working environment. That engineer, Veritas said that another engineer can't stamp his plans. Speaking with the original engineer, he said that our engineers that we had gotten could stamp his plans because they were structural, they were mechanical, they were just adding to what he had already put in there. Something wasn't worded right on the form he did. He talked to him, he resubmitted it. The guy at Veritas that day said, as soon as you get them to me, we'll look at it right then and get you an answer to that. Last I spoke to Ashley, we have until the 26th of January for an answer. Now in all this, also I gotta hire a general contractor. Ashley says you still gotta have a general contractor. I'm aware of that. I got a bill from our other engineers that have looked at it for $13,000 today. So the building's 14, their bill's 13,000. we're getting close to 30,000. I still gotta hire a general contractor, but I don't wanna hire one today for him to get caught up, and then Veritas come back and tell the city, well, we can't look at it because, for whatever reason. So my problem has been Veritas just hasn't had a particular, they can't tell you exactly what you need to do. They can tell you everything you might need to do, but I still don't know for sure with everything that our engineers have sent them, the original engineer has sent them, if they're gonna be happy with all that. So I'm just kinda stuck. So I guess I need some help with Veritas for them to hurry up and make a decision. I mean, either we can do it or we can't. I don't wanna buy another, I believe Mr. Taylor told me he knew where there were some school trailers at that I could put back there. Because they're originally made for that. But the problem is we're trying to make it look better, not like a trailer park. The building that we got has got Tyvek. It doesn't have, the floor joists aren't on 24-inch centers, they're on 16-inch centers. It's got double pane windows, insulated door. Everything is set up so it will be an office. It'll be insulated, it'll be safe, and it will look good, not just a trailer in the back parking lot. So that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like I'm beating my head against the wall sometimes, trying to get an answer and waiting 2 or 3 weeks to say I got to do something, another hoop I got to jump through. So if y'all have any recommendations or whatever, any help, I'm all ears. But that's all I got. I appreciate y'all listening to me.
So the issue here is that the plans that he submitted for the prefab building, it says on there, only for use as a lawn storage shed or something to that effect.
On the website.
It was on the plans too. Okay. And that's what Bureau Veritas reviewed. And because what you were wanting to use it for was an office use and stated so, just like you did tonight, they have to look at it in that vein. And we did meet you on site and told you what you needed to do to help us, help Bureau Veritas get over that hump.
Yep.
And I believe that letter from the original engineer who designed it was submitted with what changes need to be made to make it habitable for what you're wanting to use it for.
Yep.
So we've asked Bureau Veritas to expedite this review so you can get going on it. We can follow up with them again tomorrow.
Actually, this afternoon I did receive comments back from Bureau Veritas, and it's on my list to do first thing tomorrow morning is to send it over to you guys. So they did give me back comments late this afternoon. It's just a matter of timing, and with the meeting tonight, I wasn't able to get it over to you guys.
So, I just think that when we're looking at Veritas, that he submitted a plan over, and the plan said for storage use. But then we asked them to go get a structure engineer to verify the use. And then they get a structure engineer, and then we basically say they need, Veritas says, or we say that they need the original engineer to stamp the plans, and he just spent $13,000 for no reason. I mean, at that point, because we say send it to a structural engineer, and that's exactly what he did. If they had already seen the plans and said that this is what we see as a storage use, we need somebody original to change it, then he would have went to the original person and got that changed. And how much did he charge you to change that?
Nothing.
And they spent $13,000. We said we can't even use what the $13,000 is used for. I mean, so that's, and Veritas needs to be more plain, or look, if they're going to look almost into it, then they need to give all the information that what needs to be done, this, and this, before submitting. I mean, I think I shared with Eric, but I think Steve, I built a bathroom in Conyers, and the code, the building inspector was spot on, hit me an email, this is what I need, this. I sent him over this, and this. I sent my plumber over to get for his thing, I sent my electrician over, and from that point on, everything was send me photos. Everything looks good. It's done, and it was screened. Everything was done within. I mean, this bathroom was built within a month. You know, it was fast, quick, and they have a building that's already built, and we're not streamlining it. Not even just to say Veritas needs to hurry up, but it's just the fact that some of this stuff could be done a lot faster than the prolonged period on
If
waiting.
he's been working on it since September, and we in January, that's way.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to stand up and give your side of this? Hold on a second.
Codes.
Yeah, as Bureau Veritas is our building inspectors. Ashley, will you kind of explain our position on this?
Yes, we have been working on this since September, but the reason we're working on this in September is because there was no permit originally applied for. So we're having to back into this and get plans drawn up for a pre-engineered building and all of that stuff without getting a permit. The way the process is supposed to go is you get your permit first with the plan submitted before a building is ever on site. So you're supposed to get all of this paperwork done and signed off on before you ever move a building in on site. And that's not what happened in this case. The building got moved in. It unfortunately does happen. So now we're having to back into the process. So they have a product that they want on their site, but the plans that they got from that engineer said this is for residential lawn storage, residential lawn equipment storage only. So we had to go back and forth on that. And now we got the engineer from Stormore to send us a letter. And Bureau Veritas has reviewed those plans now. I just have to, like I said, I got those comments literally this afternoon, and I'm sending them out tomorrow as soon as I get into the office at 8:30 in the morning. But that's the main issue here is that we have a structure that's there without a permit. So we had to issue a stop work order, and now we're trying to back into a process that has been set up.
So this is a lot like the situation we dealt with last year with one of our large manufacturers here in town, where they started doing work without a permit, and then there's a lot of going back and forth and trying to fill in the blanks to try to make it work. Is really what the situation is. We actually had that happen with a couple of our large manufacturing sites here in Central Circle. And it always has to do with these pre-engineered buildings. You know, folks are going out and buying these things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's not always just as simple as just putting a building down and making it work. You know, when those condos down in South Florida collapsed a couple of years ago, that changed everything for building inspectors. And they are not willing to risk their state license on anything that is not bulletproof, for lack of a better phrase. And, you know, I'm sorry it's taken so long. I really am. And I think a lot of it, I feel like we've gotten some progress since we met on site that day, especially since we've got that engineered letter. And it sounds like Bureau Veritas has looked at it and gotten comments back. So it sounds like we're on our way to getting this thing resolved finally.
I can see where there may have been some delay with, we had Thanksgiving holidays, Christmas, and New Year's all during that period of time, so that's, there's possibly a delay in there as well.
All right, I guess you'll get comments tomorrow, and then see where we'll go from there on the markups.
Because they're energy based, the reason why they put on their storage buildings is because it doesn't meet the energy requirements for how they build it. Now, if they insulated and sheet rocked it before they sold it, they take that off of their disclaimer.
But that should all be.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. I don't believe there were any other citizens' requests. Are there any council requests?
Me one more time. The pavilion at Birchfield, Eric. I think the pavilion at Birchfield, we talked about was building it, trying to get some power out there to that building.
Yep.
Can we see if we work on getting power?
Budget for next year. Don't have the money right now.
For electrical? What if I get you the wire? Can you get somebody to power it?
We'll get a look at the budget.
Okay, because it's only,
I committed to you that we would do it, and I still am committed to that, just like I'm committed to doing something at the base there.
yeah,
We're working on it, all I can say.
okay. Like I said, it's power at the, it's power already at the ball field. It's power at the ball field. So it's only probably 100 feet, 200 feet. All right.
Okay.
What if we get, I don't know if we can do this. Tony, can you get a licensed electrician, like to volunteer to do that,
You can do that.
to run that power?
Give us services for local improvement.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna look into this, cause like I said, it's power already at the, it's power at the ball field. It's just a bad plug, it's cause it's not a GFI. And the cover's already off of it, so it's only about 150 more feet. All right.
Okay. Any other council requests? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion from Tyson and a second from Teresa. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Agenda is approved. All right, coming up next, we have a series of public hearings. Before we start those, I'd like to read the procedure for going through the public hearings tonight. It goes, we have 4 public hearings tonight. 2 of the hearings are for zoning matters. As the agenda item is brought forth, city staff will present the application. The applicant will give their presentation, 10 minutes total, then a public hearing will be opened. Then anyone registered to speak in favor of the application will be called to the podium, give their name and address, and are limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Then anyone registered to speak against the application will be called to the podium, give their name and address, and limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Once the applicant has been given an opportunity for rebuttal with any time remaining, the public hearing will close. The other 2 hearings are for proposed amendments to the Unified Development Code. As the agenda is brought forth, city staff will present the proposed amendment. Then anyone registered to speak in favor of the proposed amendment will be called to the podium, give their name and address. The time will be limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Then anyone registered to speak against the amendment will be called to the podium, give their name and address. The time will be limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Please remember that these hearings are for an opportunity for you to voice your opinion and are not a question and answer session with mayor and council. With that, first public hearing is a rezone 2025-016 at several addresses. Ashley, will you give us that staff report, please?
Yes, this is a request to rezone tax parcels SC 2100008, SC 2100007, SC 2100004, SC 220001, and SC 220001A00 from agricultural to light industrial. And it's being made in conjunction with the special use request to allow for the development of a proposed speculative warehouse under light industrial zoning. Under section 2.3.1 of the Unified Development Code, warehouses require special use approval for both light industrial and heavy industrial zonings. As shown on those proposed site plan, which is Exhibit A in your packets, the proposed development would consist of one building, approximately 494,000 square feet, along with 137 parking spaces and 146 spaces for trailer parking, as well as 2 separate entrances along Fairplay Drive. The total acreage of the properties involved in the proposed development is plus or minus 65 acres. Typically, properties designated as LI would have a maximum impervious surface ratio of 40%. However, since this area falls within the watershed protection overlay district, the maximum ISR that would be allowed would be 25%, as outlined in section 5.3.4 of the UDC. Additionally, the UDC prohibits the request for variance regarding maximum ISR for properties that fall within the WPO district. Based upon the building square footage indicated in the site plan, the ISR as presented would be approximately 17%. However, the calculation did not include the parking areas. Regarding the proposed parking, section 3.4.2.d.2 of the UDC states that all on-site parking, loading, and outdoor storage shall be located to the side or rear of the buildings with industrial uses. So if approved, all ISR parking, access management, buffer, and stormwater management requirements would be addressed during the developmental review phase of this project. While it was not required as part of their application, the applicant did conduct a vehicle classification report to provide an estimated impact that their development would have on traffic in the area. However, it appears that the report only identified the current traffic count in the area, primarily along Social Circle bypass, instead of clearly identifying the estimated increase. There is currently water, sewer, and natural gas availability in the area. However, water line may need to be relocated prior to beginning of any development. Regarding stormwater, ditches would need to be pulled and curb and gutter would need to be installed to ensure proper drainage. Any relocations or improvements to infrastructure that would be required as a result of the proposed development would be at the expense of the developer. A community meeting was held both in person and virtually on December 10th, 2025. However, aside from the applicant and their fellow representatives, there were no other attendees. I want to draw your attention to a couple things in the staff analysis portion of the staff report. Under compatibility, B1, the staff has to look at if the zoning proposal will adversely affect the existing use or usability of adjacent or nearby property. And staff concluded that the proposed zoning does appear that it would adversely affect the existing use or usability of the adjacent or nearby properties, specifically 888 Fairplay Drive, as it would be landlocked by the proposed development and would need to be granted a driveway easement to access their property. The aforementioned property is also currently zoned AG and has livestock residing on the property as well. Under that same section, number 4, staff looks at if the specific use standards for the special use, if any as provided in Article 3, can be achieved. Their specific use standards for spec warehouses are covered under Section 3.4.5.c.4 of the UDC. This section outlines spec warehouses being completely enclosed buildings that are engaged in long-term and short-term storage of goods that do not meet the definition of self-service storage use or trucking or transportation terminal. This also includes cold storage as well. Furthermore, this section also states that these uses can, if not properly sited and scaled, result in significant negative impacts from the intensive consumption of undeveloped land to the degradation of habitat, air, and water resources, quality of life, public health, safety, infrastructure, and transportation networks. The proposed development does appear to fall within the parameters of what would be defined as a spec warehouse. And under number 5 in the same section, staff looks at if there are any other existing or changing conditions affecting the use and development of the property that give supporting grounds for either approval or disapproval. Staff says it's not clear in the applicant's rezone application whether or not an end user has been identified, but rather it appears that the proposal would be to construct a warehouse and then seek the end user. While the property is located within the industrial character area, spec warehouses require the special use approval for properties with the light industrial zoning designation. Also, this area is located within the watershed protection overlay district. Therefore, they'd have to adhere to that 25% ISR. And the proposal, as shown on the applicant site plan, appears to landlock 888 Fairplay Drive. If approved, a driveway easement would need to be granted to that property owner at a minimum for them to be able to safely access their property. So, staff's recommendation is approval of the request to rezone from AG to light, from agricultural to light industrial with the following conditions. Number 1, an easement must be given / dedicated to 888 Fairplay Drive, also known as tax parcel SC210006, to ensure the property owner maintains access to the property. Number 2, there shall be a minimum 500-foot natural vegetative buffer extending from and along the property line of 888 Fairplay Drive, also known as tax parcel SC210006, as well as any other adjacent properties with a residential use and or zoning. Number 3, wall packs and exterior lighting mounted on the building shall only be placed above service entrances. There shall be cut-off fixtures down lighting so as not to cast light nor glare towards property lines or street, and shall not be used for general sight lighting purposes. Number 4, parking lot lights shall not be taller than 20 feet, shall be cut off fixtures and not cast light nor glare towards property lines or streets. Number 5, site lighting and photometric plan shall be completed and provided no more than 7-foot candles at the base of the light. Number 6, the developer must extend curb and gutter along Fairplay Drive. And number 7, all utility extensions and public infrastructure improvement costs shall be at the expense of the developer. Planning Commission recommended denial of the request to rezone. Any questions for me?
So it says here that staff recommended denial of special use.
We can talk about that on the next case.
Okay,
Yeah, that's coming up.
okay.
This is just for the rezone
this
from
is the
ag to
rezone.
light industrial.
Actually, is the applicant here?
Mm-hmm.
Sir, you have 10 minutes with an opportunity to reserve time for rebuttal.
Good evening. Is that working? Okay, there we go. Good evening, everyone. Neil Marinook with Scannell Properties, the developer. Corporate address is 8801 River Crossing Boulevard, Indianapolis, in Indiana. Just came here to speak on behalf of the project. We have the 494,000 square foot building proposed in the neighborhood where U-Haul have decided that the future land use is to be industrial. That's what we are proposing. We think it is a good use of the building. The neighbors have all been approved for future land use for industrial in that area. And so is our goal to continue that kind of pattern and support the surrounding developments that are coming in and providing services around there. So that's kind of the main point of the project, is to allow for us to be able to come in and provide the infrastructure for the future uses that are coming in. In addition, we've been proposed from the neighbors, right, of these properties that surround. So our 5 properties have come to us to help them rezone this and become industrial, which allows them to kind of move away from, the future land use being there. So we think that's helpful for them. It's helpful for us. We think this is a good project for the city, and we think that we can provide the services that need with the upcoming Rivian plant, and therefore anything kind of related to that. As you know, things will come in pretty quick and they'll come in fast, and so we just want to be there to help and provide additional services. So it's kind of the high level for now, and if you have any questions for me later, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I will open a public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor? Hearing none. Anyone here wishing to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I would give the applicant an opportunity to rebut, but no one had any comments, so I'll assume you'll avoid the rest of your time. With that, I'll close the public hearing and bring it to the council for a vote.
We'll do them all at one time.
No, it's this annexation.
Make a motion to take the planning commission's recommendation.
To deny? Second?
No, they didn't deny it. They wanted to approve it, didn't
That's deny. It's denied, right? That's what I read.
The Planning Commission recommended denial.
I'll second that.
they? Okay, got a motion from Steve and a second from Tyson for denial. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion is denied. All right, Next up, special use.
So the staff report is the same staff report. I'll just go over what our recommendations were. Staff recommended denial of the request for the special use to allow for the development of a spec warehouse under light industrial zoning. We had some conditions if approval was, should this body want to approve. Number one, they were the same as the rezone, is what the conditions were. There was an additional condition along with the previous 6. Number 7, if a land disturbance permit had not been obtained within 3 years from the date of approval, then the special use permit will expire and a new application approval would be required for use of the property as a spec warehouse. Planning Commission recommended denial of the request.
Okay.
Yeah, I apologize. I guess I was a little confused with that process. I thought I would get another chance to get asked questions and whatnot. So to go back to that, we are trying to kind of integrate all of what we have with the county and the city. And so our project kind of fits what you all have outlined. The staff has kind of recommended, and so therefore I was just kind of thinking that, you know, there's no opposition to this, that therefore, you know, it seems like no one's here to deny it. The project is in, we're talking to the final buyer for the project, and we would have basically all the parcels together, and that was the reason for the denial in the first place. So it feels, I guess from my standpoint, a little bit of a shock, I guess, to not get any questions about that and not any questions about the project. So from my perspective, I feel like this project fits exactly what you guys are trying to do. And, you know, we're on the way to kind of make this thing exactly what everyone was planning to do and what the future land use is for. And, you know, I understand, again, these residents that are selling to us are also being affected by these people that are coming in. It's their opportunity to get out now, and if you guys deny this, they won't have the opportunity to do that again for, you know, a period of time. So it's a little, it's just, to me, there's 5 people or 5 parcels that want to make this happen, and so therefore I would think that everyone else, and there's no opposition to it, so I would think everyone would be on board to move it forward. So yeah, I'm open to any and all questions if you have any. So.
Any questions? No questions. Thank you. With that, I'll open a public hearing, ask if there's anybody here to speak in favor. Anyone wishing to speak against? All right, close the public hearing. and
Just
give
got one.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I don't know, well, no, you're good. I saw that and I was like,
I'm sorry, Christy, for or against?
I'm here to speak against the special use permit. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak today.
Address.
Pardon me? Oh, yes, address, 5174 Hawkins Academy Road, Social Circle. And my name's Christina Studdard, or Christy, most people know me as. But, is that all you need? That's all you need? Okay. I'm speaking against the spec warehouses in general, with no end user. Basically, the way I feel about it is we all deserve to know who our neighbors are, and spec warehouse is just the opposite of that. What will ultimately occupy the building and the impact on the community remains a mystery until the building is occupied. I'm sure that the developer has the best of intentions for this project in mind, but as we have recently seen with spec builds, they can be quite unpredictable, even more unpredictable lately than any of us could have ever imagined. The unpredictability of these projects and the frequency in which they tend to change hands can be quite dangerous for the community. Quite often, the original petitioner of these projects is long gone by the time we ever see a building built. And so that means all the promises really don't mean anything because that person's long gone at that point. I asked the council, and I feel like this is redundant because you've already voted to. I don't understand. I honestly didn't think this part of the hearing would go on after the rezone was turned down. But anyway, what I was originally going to say was ask the council to think about the feeling that was no doubt felt by them when the potential ICE facility came to light at Loggins 100 warehouse. A feeling no doubt was similar to the feeling of residents when they feel unheard. It's a feeling of shock, disappointment, fear, desperation, and ultimately a feeling of being powerless to a group that has power over and above the power that you all have to do anything about it. And I think that's something we can all agree on. Is not a fun place to be in. So I was speaking about it, against it, being a spec warehouse in general. I think we need to have an end user always when we approve builds. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, now we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for a vote.
Got rebuttal.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Go ahead.
So I don't necessarily disagree with the spec warehouse. You know, the way I thought this was going to go was potentially we'd get the rezoning, and the rezoning would allow us to market better to users that this project's ready to go, right? Denying that makes us kind of push for the spec, and we're not here to kind of really build spec. We're here to, again, be in line for the users that are coming online that you know are coming with all the other proposed buildings. So that was really just kind of the idea was, you know, potentially we could get the rezoning figured out. We would have that ability and we can work together to get another building and put that in place and know who the user is going to be and kind of figure that out and determine that. And that way we wouldn't have the issue of the speculative going forward. You know, it's kind of the opposite of what we need now, but if we allow it, you know, at least we can start working towards the ability to potentially making that happen and finding the user that fits this perfectly. Skinell's background, just to give a quick highlight, we've done 10 million square feet of projects in the state of Georgia. We've worked with all the big names that you've heard of. You know, not necessarily that we have someone to date, but, you know, there are many people in the background that we've been talking to. So just kind of put that out there for everyone and just know that we're here. We're in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. I'm just down the road, and you know I'm here to work and help provide to this community. I come out here all the time on my way to a bunch of things, and you know I like what y'all have done with the community. Y'all have been doing a great job of building this community and actually making a plan for the city and performing to it. So I got to give a lot of respect to you guys and appreciate everything you've done. And thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. All right. Now I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for a vote.
So we're voting on special use of something that we've already denied.
Yeah,
So
so
we still have to vote on.
you still have to vote on, since it's an advertised meeting,
Yeah.
but if you vote for this, you're effectively putting it on zoning that's not allowed for this type of use.
Right.
I'll make a motion to go with the staff to deny the special use.
Okay, motion from Tyson, second from Adam. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Motion to deny passes. All right, Ashley, consideration of amendments to the City of Social Circles Unified Development Code.
Yes. So this first amendment is the lengthier of the two that we are going to discuss tonight. Did you guys want me to read the newest? Did you want me to read the newest into the record?
Yes, please.
Okay.
We could have gave him an answer.
So, we are proposing amendments to, section 3.4.6, A of the Unified Development Code. And it reads, as follows. Number 1, minimum site area. The minimum lot size for any data center shall be 50 acres. Number 2, fencing and security requirements. All data centers shall be enclosed by a secure perimeter. A, all data centers shall be enclosed by a perimeter fence with a minimum of 8 feet in height. B, fencing along public road frontages shall not be chain link, barbed wire, razor wire, or solid metal panel. Public facing fencing shall incorporate one or more of the following. 1, decorative or architectural materials such as masonry or wood. Or 2, a natural vegetative buffer of sufficient density to screen the fence from public view. C, controlled access gates, security signage, and continuous on-site or remote surveillance shall be required. D, along public road frontages, all perimeter fencing shall be located behind required landscape buffer and integrated with plantings to minimize the visual mass from the right-of-way. Number 3, setbacks and buffers. A, data center shall maintain a minimum separation of 1,000 feet from any existing residence measured in straight line distance from the nearest point of the data center building to the residential structure. B, a minimum buffer of 500 feet shall be provided where a data center abuts residential or agriculturally zoned property. Number 4, infrastructure and utility requirements. A water, sewer, and gas impact study shall be submitted with any special use or change in zoning application, including projected utility demand at build-out, proposed phasing, and identification of necessary off-site improvements or extensions. While the City of Social Circle is not a power provider, the city may require a power impact study to be conducted and submitted as part of any special use or change in zoning application as well. B, the city encourages and may require as a condition of approval the use of water reclamation and reuse as part of the applicant's proposed cooling method, to include the prioritization of on-site water storage for the purpose of reuse also. C, facilities shall comply with water efficiency standards established by the applicable utility provider, including maximum allowable usage thresholds in effect at time of approval. Applicant shall provide documentation from the utility provider confirming service capacity and applicable efficiency requirements prior to issuance of a building permit. Compliance with these standards will be a condition of any special use permit or change in zoning. D, direct connections to surface water sources or aquifers are prohibited. E, applicants shall enter into binding agreements with affected utility providers to fund and implement all necessary improvements. Such agreements shall include provisions for monitoring, reporting, and enforcement to ensure long-term sustainability of water and infrastructure resources. F, no building permit shall be issued until the city has received written confirmation from all affected utility providers that adequate service capacity will be available upon project completion and that all reclamation and reuse requirements have been met. G, parking shall not exceed more than 35 spaces per building and shall be in compliance with all parking and loading standards outlined in section 3.4.2.d. 5, noise standards. A, noise generated by any equipment operations or activities associated with the data center, including but not limited to cooling systems and emergency backup generators, shall not exceed 60 decibels during daytime hours, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., or 50 decibels during nighttime hours, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., as measured at the property line where the site adjoins residential or agriculturally zoned property. B, primary data center buildings shall be constructed of materials with demonstrated sound attenuation properties, such as tilt-up, concrete panels, concrete masonry units, or equivalent assemblies. Metal panel construction shall only be permitted where the applicant demonstrates through acoustical analysis that the building envelope will achieve compliance with the city's noise performance standards at the property line. C, facilities shall be subject to inspection by the city or its authorized agents once per calendar year at minimum for compliance with the noise standards once facility is in operation. D, emergency standby generators serving any lawful use may operate at any time during loss of utility power or other bona fide emergency conditions, and may also operate for routine maintenance and testing reasonably necessary to ensure emergency readiness. Such maintenance and testing is permitted between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Saturday, and shall not by itself constitute a violation of this chapter, provided the generators are maintained with the manufacturer recommended muffler sound attenuation and the operator retains maintenance testing records for 24 months and provides them to city upon reasonable request. Operation outside the stated hours shall not be a violation when reasonably necessary for emergency readiness due to the manufacturing requirements, commissioning repairs, post-event verification, or utility-directed testing, and when reasonable measures are taken to minimize impacts. 6, emergency response and public safety. Data centers shall install fire suppression systems appropriate for sensitive electrical equipment and meeting, at minimum, the fire and life safety codes adopted by the city. B, a site-specific emergency response plan shall be prepared by the operator and coordinated with local fire and police services prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy. C, the ERP shall be updated as needed to reflect changes in site operations, equipment, or emergency procedures, and a current copy shall be maintained on file with the city. D, operators shall conduct emergency drills in coordination with local and fire and police services at intervals specified by the city as a condition of approval of any special use permit or change in zoning. 7, compliance and enforcement. A, facilities shall be subject to inspection by the city or its authorized agents at such times and intervals as determined by the city to verify compliance with this section and all conditions of special use and change in zoning approval. B, violations of the section or any conditions of approval shall be subject to fines of up to $1,000 per day of each violation. C, repeated or continued noncompliance may result in suspension or revocation of special use approval, business license, or certificate of occupancy. D, no new permits, inspections, or certificates of occupancy shall be issued to any operator with unresolved violations or unpaid penalties. Got all that? So I just wanted to point out a couple of things that we cleaned up. This would be, the way that I just read it would be staff's recommendation. Planning Commission did recommend recommend some of those changes. They did recommend amending 2B1 to remove wood as a material for fencing and add brick or stone columns 10 feet in height every 100 feet and at entrances with 8-foot black aluminum pickets with turned down or rounded caps at the top. Staff did not include that in their recommendation. Number 2, Planning Commission recommended amending 4A to the city shall require a power impact study. Staff did include that recommendation within the version that you have before you tonight. Number 3, Planning Commission recommended amending 4B to include a prohibition on open loop cooling systems. Staff did not include that in staff's recommended version based on comments that we got from one of the contractors that we use for an engineer. And I'm going to read exactly what he said because some of the engineering stuff kind of goes over my head. Yeah, for the record, this is from Kenny Green at Turnip Seed. His email reads, Ashley, as requested, we reviewed the proposed data center provisions in the UDC. Here are our comments. 4B, water reclamation. The Planning Commission, the PC edits added that the city may require water reclamation and reuse, and then added that open looped cooling systems are prohibited. Number 1, we believe this statement could prohibit data centers entirely. The phrase open looped is defined differently by different people and is misunderstood. Our research indicates that there are no truly closed loop with near zero water use data centers that are currently in existence. There is indication that Microsoft will pilot new near zero technology at 3 facilities expecting to come online in late 2027. Number 2, some facilities use the term closed loop because the intercooling loop is closed, but the outer loop is not. Some of these facilities are reported to use more water than traditional evaporative cooling with recycling. Number 3, we believe that data centers currently in planning stages in the region are typically using traditional evaporative cooling with recycling. More recycling can take place where the water quality is good. At these facilities, the data centers indicate that no water is needed when the daily temperature is below 87 to 89 degrees. Number 4, and he wrote this in bold, we recommend deleting the statement open looped cooling systems are prohibited. He also said 4D, I'm not sure what is intended. Is this prohibiting the data center from providing their own water through wells or surface water? That is a reasonable thing, but the statement, unless no other alternative, should be deleted. He also says the buffer and fencing provisions are significant and may warrant further review. We did not review the other sections, and he told me I could call if I had any questions. So that is why we took out the prohibition on open loop cooling systems in staff's recommendation. Number 4, Planning Commission recommended amending 5A to reduce the decibels to 60 at daytime and 50 at nighttime. Staff kept that recommendation. Number 5, adding section 5C to require a minimum of 1 annual inspection once facility is in operation, and staff kept that recommendation as well. And we added in the emergency provisions based off of some comments that we got from some previous data centers that have come before us, so that they would have an emergency caveat to run those generators in the case of a power outage. I know that was a lot of information. Any?
I had a couple questions.
All right. So a lot of what I'm seeing when I'm doing the research on these data centers and the issues that where those areas have been implemented have to do around the water. And one of the things that keeps coming up more recently is the PFAS, right? So when they're putting the water back into the environment, it's got the PFA, what they're calling forever chemicals in it, right? I don't see anything in here about addressing the thresholds for those to be in guidelines with any kind of environmental guidance.
We're going to get your suggestion on that one, given some issues we discussed. That hasn't been part of those conversations.
Well, you know, I think if we want them included, we probably need to include them when, before adoption.
The other one I had was, I don't have a problem with not exclusively excluding non-closed loop, but I feel we could do something about the language in there where perhaps they submit their cooling plan and we can review whether that's within current guidance, because they keep saying it's changing and it's ever changing. It's getting more efficient, but we don't know what that looks like.
So I think that is covered in the way I'm reading it in 4B. I'm sorry. Okay. So under 4B and C, it talks about how the city encourages and may require as a condition of approval. So when we start looking at these on a case-by-case basis, since they're a special use, the council could potentially condition those approvals to include whatever type of technology is available at the time, or a specific type of hybrid cooling system, or something like that.
But if I'm their lawyer, if I'm looking at it from a devil's advocate point of view like that, this says encourages and may require, right? Not only is that language I feel particularly soft, the portion about if they can check the box on the use of water reclamation in any way, shape, form, or fashion, they've checked that box. If they reuse as part of the applicant's proposed cooling method, they can check that box. So I think we might want to revisit that particular section to strengthen it, to protect ourselves.
Which section is that?
4B.
So the ones we have in progress right now are Guardian water reclamation. And that is something that they are actively researching right now.
So,
There's also going to be a considerable amount of on-site water storage as well. That's what they do to
Right.
have a lot of storage for peak days rather than draw.
I also think
So
that
those things are already being done.
And what we're adopting doesn't affect the ones that's already been approved.
Yeah.
Correct.
those have specific conditions on them already, and I believe off the top of my head, without like consulting all of the action notices and ordinances that we've sent out, I believe half of those have specific conditions about, at least half of them have specific conditions about the type of cooling system that they are supposed to be using. This would be for any, like you said, any future project that would come before us. And also, I think if we start codifying some of that stuff, it takes away interpretation when it gets to the development phase. And the utility provider wouldn't have any room to say, okay, this does meet those standards. We need you to be at this. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know how
I'm
that
not trying
works,
to
but-
make it necessarily more prohibitive.
Yeah.
Anything they do's gotta go through an engineer anyway.
Right.
They may have a pre-treatment plant on their
Right.
property that it has to be pre-treated before they can send it to us or Newton County, whoever, wherever it's going, once they get through with it, and then we can actually send it back to them. But if we do a closed loop, we can't send it back to them.
Well, like I said, I'm not advocating for specifically the closed loop system.
So these systems, and we heard it with one of Mr. Wallsted's applications, these systems are hybrid systems, is what they are. They don't even use water for probably half the year, these air cooling. And so a lot of the numbers that have been thrown out there are based on peak days that really only apply to maybe
4 or 5 days a year.
yeah, maybe 2 or 3 weeks out of the whole year. Regarding the PFAS, what I would suggest is not make it a part of this particular document, because then it would be specific to data centers to put in this document. The issue with PFAS, as we've had conversations, are associated with some other industries here. And I think that if we're gonna deal with PFAS, it needs to be
A broader blanket.
broader blanket versus strictly on data centers.
Okay.
So Tony, what do you think about the language? Does it still give us the
Data
opportunity?
centers are special use permit only.
Correct, yeah, so they would be a special use, that's the other part of this text amendment, is in the big table that says, what you can do where. It would be a special use not only in light industrial, but also in heavy industrial. Right now, data centers are allowed by right in heavy industrial, so we're changing it to be a special use across the board. So every time a data center wants to come to the city, it has to go before Plan Commission and you guys.
So, Mr. Convey, the language is soft, but it is a criteria for review. So when the data center comes up, we've obviously flagged it for them and said, hey, we encourage this and we may require it. And then when you do the condition that comes with the special use permit, you lock it down and you make the shall mandatory if that's what you're trying to achieve. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not trying to discourage the business, but trying to protect. Yeah.
Right, but you, when it comes up, you can craft the restriction that goes with that with strengths. And it's just flagging it as a criteria that we will look at and put in the special use permit conditions.
Most of these conditions were actually pulled from
The
from the stipulations that we put on these data centers already. So this is really kind of codifying it so that we can
So you have to.
do it broadly.
The other thing I had a concern with is the amount of the $1,000 per day. A lot of these companies,
$1,000 per day.
yeah,
That's under
it's in
enforcement.
section 7B.
Yeah,
$1,000 they fine.
That's,
So my general recommendation, I didn't realize that was in there. I missed that part. My general recommendation on anything regarding penalties is to not put it in any kind of code. Because then at some point, $1,000 is not going to be enough.
that's exactly my point. So if the projected cost of their improvement to, say, reduce the noise for an adjoining agriculturally zoned parcel is $1 million, they'll happily pay that $1,000 a day rather than display
Right.
the construction cost of $1 million.
Yeah, that should be subject to whoever is adjudicating the penalty.
There you go. So we either need to remove that and just mention a fine to be determined, or
What can
some
we
language
change
around
that
that,
word
or set it much higher.
Change your word to that.
I would delete it. There's a general penalties provisions where our court is restricted in what it can find to misdemeanor class. We're never gonna affect.
So that's why
those
it's
real-
1,000.
So strike
But
B.
I would still take it out. I don't
Strike
think it needs
B?
to
Strike
be
B.
there.
Okay. Well, just make that clear in the motion, please. Okay.
I also have a question about this, wood, you said a wooden fence of the buffer?
So for that, that is, so public facing fencing has to be, they have to incorporate one or more of the following, and that was either a decorative or architectural materials such as masonry or wood, or they can have a natural vegetative buffer of sufficient density to screen the fence from public view. So if they wanted to do, let's say along the bypass, they wanted to do a chain link fence, they would have to have a vegetative screen in front of that chain link fence to hide the chain link fence. Or they wouldn't be able to do a chain link fence. But whatever material they decided to use, they would have to use a vegetative buffer to hide that fence, or they could use a stone fence along the public facing. So basically, the fencing that they're using that you can see. Everything else, you know, that's, if we can't see it, that's their business.
So I'm guessing that wood don't look more appealing.
I'm thinking
I'd
over
rather
the
see a
years.
chain link fence instead of wood fence.
Yeah, I think over the years it's gonna.
And I don't want to see a chain link fence.
That's what was, yeah.
I'd rather see chain link, metal, raw iron metal or something opposed, especially as we're talking about the front facing, opposed to seeing a wooden privacy. That's because I'm going on the privacy now. I'm saying wooden, 8-foot privacy fence that's leaning later.
That's what planning commission talked about as well. They talked about wood and the longevity of wood and that kind of stuff. So staff's open to like whatever you guys want to do.
I would rather strike wood.
Maybe we can go with the planning recommendations for that fence.
A combination of masonry and metal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be better than, it's like I said, I wouldn't want to see, I mean, I'd rather see a chain link fence than say a wood fence.
That's a lot, you know, some of these properties are 1,000 acres. I mean, that could be
That's
a
why I
lot,
said I'd rather
that could
see
be a lot of
I'd rather
brick.
see chain link than seeing,
Then the wood.
than wood.
If you would rather see chain link, we would also have to amend to B
Yeah, I mean,
as well, because that
this is-
prohibits chain link.
I mean, because you're not trying to put a burden on them, but you also I don't want to see a wooden fence because,
Dilapidated.
yeah, and later
Yeah.
it's going to look bad. Yeah, so I mean, I would be open more
Well,
to,
you give you a prime example is Contract Lumber.
yeah.
They got a fence along the Annie P. Henderson right there, and you don't even know it's there because they've got that vegetated buffer in front of it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Except for where you see the gates at.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather see chain link than use it,
Yeah,
you know,
chain link,
vegetated
I guess
buffer to try to
yeah.
cover it up.
Okay.
So Ashley, do you want to read those into your staff report?
Well,
We're
okay.
striking
So you want to
Back to
strike
the-
chain
I'm
link
sorry.
from 2B.
2B.
I'm asking you.
No,
No,
we
we
aren't
want
striking
it.
chain link, we're striking wood.
Okay, so we want to strike, but if you want to see chain link along public facing roads, it would have to be,
Have to have a natural buffer in front of it,
It has to have, yep, still needs a buffer.
vegetated buffer.
Oh, we got shall not be.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So,
Yeah.
so B says fencing along public road frontages shall not be chain link, barbed wire, razor wire, or solid metal panel.
I'm good with, I don't want to see barbed wire and razor wire.
And
So
then
that's,
we could put language in for the decorative buffer that needs to be at or above the height of the fencing.
Okay. So I go back to my original question. Do you want me to strike chain link from 2B?
Yes.
Okay. So that would in effect allow chain link. And then you said
and
a
then we're saying
natural,
no, but also then we're going to say no barbed wire, razor wire.
correct. So it would read like this. Fencing along public road frontages shall not be barbed wire, razor wire, or solid metal panel. Public facing fencing shall incorporate one or more of the following: decorative or architectural materials such as masonry or a natural vegetative buffer of sufficient density to screen the fence from public view.
But
I
didn't
don't
you,
see why if you're gonna make them plant a buffer, that you're gonna do away with them being able to use chain link fence.
No, that's what I said. I'm fine with the chain link fence.
Just change
If
the
they put a
basic-
buffer in front of
yeah,
it,
chain link's fine.
then it's fine, you know, because
Yeah.
you put a boxwood or some nice shrubs in
Right.
front of it, it still don't look that bad.
But didn't you just say that you wanted to see the natural buffer in front of everything? Because this is giving them an option of either a fence or a natural buffer. I thought I just heard you say,
Well, they gonna, if it's a data center, they gonna have a fence around the whole thing anyway, for security.
right.
But this is giving them the option to say along the road frontage, what the general public can see, they can either do a chain link with a natural buffer, or they can do a decorative fence that's masonry, since we took out the wood.
So,
Does it limit the height?
That's it.
so I thought what I heard you say is you wanted to hide it as much as possible. So therefore, what I think I hear you asking for is a natural vegetative buffer, no matter what.
I don't have a problem with it.
Should the fence describe the height?
There is,
8 foot.
yeah, it's a minimum of 8 foot. The fence has to be a minimum of 8 foot.
I think in the case of chain link, it should require the vegetative buffer.
Yep.
But if it's a
Yeah.
decorative fence, it's optional.
Only along the roadway.
Yeah.
Only that,
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
That's right.
You got that?
Huh,
So
sure thing.
if they do chain link, they have to have a vegetative buffer. If they
On
do
frontage.
on the frontage.
Road frontage.
If they do decorative fencing,
They
they
don't
don't
have
have to have the vegetative buffer.
I think with the way we just wrote that, it would do that. Because if you're doing a decorative or architectural material such as masonry, you're not covering that up with vegetative buffer,
Right.
That's right.
because you're paying all that money for masonry.
Unless you're English, then it's gonna be covered in ivy anyway.
Well. I don't know that we have that problem.
So that's 2B, so we got that covered.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one? We were striking,
We were striking 7B.
Yep, 7B.
with the 5.
Yes.
All right, so that's it? You got it?
You guys tell me.
So we're going with removing the open loop cooling. And then adding in the language about the emergency generators.
Uh-huh. Now, I got one more question. So water, what happens if, God forbid, we go into a drought? Do the data center still get all that water, or is it a way that we can say that?
So we don't control the water. County controls the water. We don't provide the water to the data centers.
But this is for, let's make sure this is for future.
Yeah.
So if it one that, somewhere that is our water,
So then you have a special use permit you would be giving at that time, that you would be dealing with that at that time.
okay.
Case by case.
But based on our
basis.
current water
I
volumes,
know
we
we're
don't
not
have it.
controlling none of the water
Yeah.
going out. I know we don't have water. So we
Yeah,
don't
and,
have
you know,
enough to support the data
So,
centers.
so the ones in Walton County, and I hope we don't get any more. So the ones in Walton County are, the water is controlled by Walton County government. And yes, if there is a drought, they have ways of changing their usage as well. The ones that are in Newton County are provided by Newton County Water.
I've also seen them bringing in on bladders.
Hmm?
I've also seen them bringing in on bladders for emergency usage.
All right.
Okay. All right. I have those changes. I do believe we still have to have the public hearing.
So we don't have to read the changes. Do we need to read?
We know what the changes are, we got them
So we're gonna adopt it, we're gonna adopt it based on the minute changes.
Yep.
Yes.
We have to have the public hearing.
Public hearing.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Yeah.
but, okay.
Okay. With that, I will open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here to speak in favor, and we did have one person to sign in, Mr. John Miller.
Actually, I want to switch pages now.
Okay, so you want to move to,
Opposed?
okay, would you like to speak?
John Miller, 20 Lakeview. Originally, I wanted to speak for this amendment because there's a lot of cooperative work that has gone into it, and I really appreciate everybody who's been involved in that. There's been a lot of research, both within the city staff and within the public, and a lot of discussion. So it definitely is an example of how we can all work together to improve the outcomes. Based on some of the comments here, I'd like to bring up a few things. We've had several instances in the past where in different projects that have been approved and pushed through, where the comment has been made that the UDC is the UDC. If it's in there, it's in there. If it's not, it's not. The UDC controls. So leaving those open loops when it comes to the water usage, I think is inherently dangerous. There needs to be some sort of mechanism that or review process or board or something that it goes through in order to determine what is the best use or most restrictive water system or best prudent use of water. Then if you leave it ambiguous as to what those restrictions are, then ultimately someone's going to use that against us. So I would recommend that you table this for more work and see if we can come up with some better language to more specifically address the water usage and how that is determined, or the system is determined at the time of the special use, to lay that out so there's no ambiguity. Also, to tackle the further discussion of the PFAs that you were talking about. That's my biggest concern with regard to the water usage and that ambiguity. So with that, I'll yield back the time.
Thank you, John. Okay, anyone else wishing to speak against? Hearing, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for a vote. I do have a question for our attorney. Mr. Miller suggested a table of this. Is it too late for that? Can't do it.
I understand what John's saying about that, but with our engineers having a review of a thing, we actually, and he has to sign off on it before they can do anything anyway.
Before they can even start site development, yeah.
Yep. So it actually does have a review. So,
Not only that, but any future data center has to come before Plan Commission and Mayor and Council. So anytime there will be a data center at all, it has to go through this review process. So it is a case-by-case basis at its very core.
Who all is privy to the review, and what recourse do we have?
For special use, so the process is someone submits an application, it goes through my staff, we send it out to all of our department, every single city department, we send it out to the county as well, we also send it out to the schools. So we have an internal review where we get comments from every department, that includes water, sewer, gas, roads and bridges, stormwater, the whole nine. And we would include engineers on that as well for something like this, where somebody that understands these systems way more than I do would be able to make it.
So I'll tell you, Adam, that the Kenny Green, our water and sewer engineer, he's been way more involved in these projects than any of us have, including the ones that we are working on now. He's been on every phone call. He's been a part of every conversation to get to the type of systems and volumes that need to be done. So it's not, there is not a particular point in time when somebody looks at it. It's pretty much from the very beginning and goes all the way until we get his approval as required in these documents that it's ready to move forward.
So it comes back before this body
No.
before it's approved?
No, not for engineers, no.
Well,
So who's the final approving authority?
The engineer.
for the current projects or like future projects?
Well, this applies to future projects.
Right, so at the conceptual level, this body would have to approve the use. And then once we get to the development stage, that's when we get into the nitty gritty of all that other stuff where the engineers are the approval.
So this would never come back before us. to
It
review.
would. It's the
So-
process, the
so-
process.
No, it wouldn't.
No.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Just like, you approve a housing subdivision, the
don't-
builder
get to
the builder
approve
doesn't
every
come
plan.
back and approve the plumbing of the houses.
Right.
So the question, Mr. Miller's concern is, and it was the same for Mr. Convey, the question is the water use provision tight enough? And so the process is every future project has 2 political reviews before a special use permit is issued. So when it comes to fixing that issue, it's hard to tell from what we're doing now. It's a site-by-site review and a process-by-process review. But it is absolutely discretionary with the planning commission and with mayor and council as to whether it's granted for a special use and any condition you need for that provision to be imposed on that future development.
That would be acceptable, except a lot of the data centers that have come up for review haven't had an end user in play. And if they have, they haven't disclosed, at least that I've heard, what sort of cooling system they're going to be using, other than saying it's a hybrid.
The
This
reason,
is a hybrid.
and the reason,
Some do have an end user.
the reason for that, there are end users in play.
Okay.
I promise you that. Okay? We have been having conversations, Kenny's been having conversations with them. Okay? His recommendations, that's the reason why we asked him to provide his guidance, because he's not only looking at them here, he's looking at them all over the state. So he's very familiar with types of systems that go in there. I forgot what else I was gonna say to your point. but-
Prioritize.
Huh?
I mean, it's like each system's different for.
Yeah, each system's different, and when they come, I'll use Mr. Wallsted's project in particular. When they came to us, the final deals with the end users were not in place. It's under contract, okay? But once you get the zoning in place, the end users then get full started on a due diligence process, of which a major component of this is the utility aspect. Okay? And it was through those conversations that we developed the water agreement with Walton County.
So, back to your issues that you're having, if another data center comes, those stipulations that you're asking for is closed loops and the water treatment, that can be put on the next data center that comes. Because as technology changes, we can change the way that we're approving or not approving. So
You're saying in the special variant point,
The
we
special
can have
use.
whatever we want. That's the implementation point.
Yeah, it would satisfy both your concerns because it comes back here. Now, if you turn loose of that control and approve it without the requirement attached to it, then Eric is right. Once you approve that provision or that data center and it becomes a scientific application, then it's out of everybody's hands and the engineer applies the rule according to what the condition is. But when you adopt this, you're not turning loose of that provision. You are signaling it as a item of review that if we decide we want it to be a certain way on special use, you put the condition on it the way you want it, and that's still within the controls of planning commission and mayor and council, in terms of how it gets approved. You know, and that's really where that decision should be made. You're not making it with the approval of this. You're simply saying that's a criteria. Now, if they don't want to do it the way you want to do it, then you can turn them down on a special use permit, and they're 6 months away from ground zero.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at, is that staff will review it, we'll offer our recommendation along with any conditions we think might work with whatever's going on at the time, you know, technology wise, and then planning commission will offer their recommendation, and then once you guys make the motion and provide the conditions, that's what our review in the development process will look at, along with all the other provisions of the UDC. And that we call it an action notice or ordinance. That has to go on the front page of their plans. So the engineers see it every single time they open up that plan, is all the conditions that this body places on those developments.
Okay. Y'all have gone through this enough that you have thoroughly confused the mayor, so I'm going to ask again to go through this process. We've heard from Mr. Miller that he spoke against this amendment. Close the public hearing, and I've asked for a vote.
I believe you also asked if it could be tabled.
I did ask that.
I'm gonna make a motion to accept it with the changes.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Steve to accept with the changes, second from Teresa. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay.
All right, number 4.
Okay. Number 4 hopefully will be a little bit simpler. So this is amending the general provisions for special use permits. So given concerns that have been expressed with regard to recent special use requests and approvals, we took a look at the general provisions regarding special use permits to ensure that there's a level of accountability on the applicant should their project be abandoned or conditions not be met following the approval of their request. There's no time requirements or restrictions currently in the UDC on how long an applicant has to begin or complete a proposed project that has received special use approval. While a condition can be placed on the approval that would hold the applicant accountable for ensuring that their project is completed in a timely manner, staff feels that there should be a provision in place within the UDC that would apply to all special use approvals. That way we're remaining consistent. So I'll read what staff recommends, and then I'll let you guys know what planning commission recommended. Actually, I'll do it just like I did the last one. Okay. So I'll just read what the cleaner version that I've given you guys, and then we'll discuss. So this is an amendment to section 13.7.2E. Approved special use permits shall be subject to the following time restrictions. 1. Special use permits will expire 18 months from the date of approval and resolution of any legal challenges if no activity has been initiated on the project. Or 2, if 1 year elapses between observed activity during proactive inspections. 3, the community development director is authorized to grant 1 extension of a special use permit for a period not to exceed 6 months. So originally staff recommended 3 years from the date of approval and resolution of any legal challenges. Planning Commission is the one that offered the recommendation for 18 months, and Planning Commission also recommended that provision number 3, allowing that one-time extension of 6 months as well. So we basically need to determine what time frame council wants, whether it's the 3 years that staff recommends or the 18 months that Planning Commission recommended. Most of the conditions that we've placed on other projects has been 3 years, with the exception of, I think, 1 or 2 that was 12 months.
I'm good with the time.
With,
I mean, we had talked about it, but I just think 3 years is too long for a special use permit to sit out there and have an endless life.
okay.
Any other questions for Ashley? No. All right, with that, I'll open the public hearing, open the floor for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Hearing none, close the public hearing and bring it back to the council.
I'll make a motion to accept, with the, staff recommendations.
Second.
Ashley, you wanted to say something?
I would just ask for a clarification on the time.
The 18 months.
Okay, thank you.
The red line
Thank you.
recommendations, 18 months.
Motion still stand?
Yes.
Okay. Got a motion from Tyson and a second from Teresa. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes. And that completes our public hearings for tonight.
Mr. Mayor, before we move on to the consent agenda portion of this, I would just like to remind the council that that the moratorium we had in place for data centers was in effect until March or until these data center regulations were passed. So now that those data center regulations have passed, the moratorium is no longer in place.
Okay. Everybody realize that?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, ready to move on?
Yes, sir. It's your turn.
All right, so for the consent agenda, we have 10 items on the consent agenda this evening. We have the minutes of the mayor and council regular meeting from December the 16th. We have the minutes of the mayor and council organizational meeting from January the 12th. We have the minutes of the mayor and council work session from January the 12th. We have an update to the city speed detection certification. This will include the portion at the end of South Cherokee that we modified at the end of last fall. Approval of creating part-time bailiff positions in municipal court. We have a bid award to Amcon Industrial in the amount of $2,068,535.54 for the Lakewood Drive water main replacement project. At the work session, you guys asked us to go back and look at the what they had in there for blasting. They have plenty of money in there for blasting. They actually were the seventh. They were actually the highest bid. They actually had the most money set aside all the bidders for their blasting. So they were the highest component for blasting, but they're still the lowest bid overall.
They're hoping they don't have to blast.
Yeah.
They're gonna blast.
They're going to blast. We have approval of emergency repairs due to lighting damage at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $39,525.53. And this action will also amend the water and sewer budget to appropriate the insurance funds that we received for that, for those repairs. We have approval of precision planning proposal for the Spring Street Water Distribution System Loop Supplemental Number 1 for the addition of a 12-inch water main on Industrial Drive from Rother Drive to Malcolm Road. This will resolve a pressure issue there with a couple of our industries on a stretch of the industrial area that does not have a water main on that road. And then we have approval of the precision planning proposal for the Spring Street Water System Loop Supplemental Number 2 for replacement of a 10-inch water main on Cannon Drive from Spring Street to Elder Drive, replacement of a 6-inch water main and hydrant on Chestnut Street, and a loop to a 2-inch water main on Walnut Street. And one of the questions that was asked at the meeting was where it will connect on Spring Street, and it will connect on this side of the bridge, for sure. And then the final item on the consent agenda is an RFQ award to Keck and Wood and Kimley Horn for natural gas system consulting services. Recommended approval of the consent agenda.
I would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion from Teresa and a second from Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Leads us to unfinished business. I don't know of any. Have new business. Mr. Taylor, take us through that, please?
We have consideration of a request to make Adams Street a one-way street. This was discussed at the work session. It's based on a request from two business owners there in the vicinity of Adams Street, the I Declare ice cream shop and also Morse Realty. Just based on some safety improvements, they feel like it would be better to have a one-way street going from Hightower to Sycamore. So we'll turn it over to City Council for action.
So have we had that be, did, there was an accident there?
Taylor had one. That's what provoked her phone call to me. It was somebody passing by, knocked off a mirror off the car.
One of the drawbacks to it being two-way as it is now is if you're coming from Sycamore towards Hightower, you have to pull way out the traffic that's sitting on up against the Dally's building over there and right in that area. You got to stick the nose of your vehicle out into the traffic before you can pull out. So it's dangerous in that way.
Yeah, I seen that too, but I started thinking about it. It's no different than Ace Hardware. If you're coming off Memorial, you almost have to come out you got to come out in the middle of the road and make a turn right there too.
Yeah.
We're proposing the one-way going away from Highway.
That would be our recommendation if you do
It
it.
used to go
This
this
right here,
way,
you'd be
and
going
then
up.
on the post office side, it went that way.
Following the work session, John Miller sent everybody an email as well. And some of the things that he brought up in his email was that due to the many festivals and parades that shut down to the edge of Adams Street, leaving Dogwood as the only two-way means of egress. That's one thing to consider here. He says often template when getting food and supply deliveries blocks at least one lane of egress on Dogwood, leaving Adams Street as the only secondary two-way access. Christmas season lights at the Hornsby's at times make Dogwood not usable due to cars and people going through there. And also the alley next to the post office is a one-way that's significantly narrower. That is a fact. That is a one-way street. You can barely get one car through there.
Yeah, I've thought about all that as well. I mean, I turn down it a lot anyway, just to avoid the red light. That's why I asked, are we having more issues other than the one issue in many, many years?
Has it been
That issue.
restriped?
Huh?
No.
Huh?
Maybe we should.
No, it's not very wide. I mean, it's barely width of two vehicles in
Yes.
back.
Yeah.
That's like all our roads. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Circle
it's-
is more dangerous than turning right here.
I don't think striping would make a difference on that street.
Yeah. It was, I guess, I don't even know where she's parked at. She's parked in the parking spot, or she's parked on the side right there.
Well, another issue that somebody brought up is, oftentimes there's people parked there at the mayor's building there on the side. That further kind of narrows that turning point in there.
So I mean,
Why don't we just put no parking?
I was just saying we can put no parking right
That's
there.
private property there.
Oh.
That's Grilling Station property.
Oh, the side right there.
Well, it's actually parking in the grass when they do that. I mean, there's no gravel or hard surface over there.
I say, let me say this. I'd be in favor of tabling it, and then I wanna know the distances of what the right of way is down through there.
Okay.
From East High Tower all the way to the other end. I wanna see how wide, how much we actually own up through there.
Can we do some type of traffic study?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if we're the only have, if that was one,
I mean. Because if it's only wide enough on Keener's end for one car anyway, then we're putting cars on somebody else's property to start off with.
Well, I mean, I could probably tell you what the right-of-way is before even going to it, okay? Because the pavement goes right up to private property. So you can see exactly where the grilling station property starts.
The property pins
You
are
can
there.
see exactly where Morris Morris Realty starts. Then you've got our lot, and you can see exactly where Mr. Hornsby's property starts. Then on the other side of the road, that's all public anyway because of that parking lot there. In terms of traffic study, I'm not sure there's enough traffic through there to even warrant paying for something like
I don't want a
that.
traffic study, I just wanna know what the right of ways are up through there.
I was just saying that, if we only had one wreck and, or one scrape in
Well,
30 years, I mean, is that
They've been more
warranty?
than that up through there over the years. I just don't think it's been as many lately as they used to be.
Can we pull that data to see how many?
They should be able to pull it.
I mean, how would we go about doing that? I don't want to necessarily pay for a traffic study. That's a few $1,000s for that road.
It don't have to be like a full-blown traffic
We just
study.
Christy, you park
But
back
we need
there.
data.
What kind of traffic do you see back there?
You're talking to me?
Yeah. Because, you park back there.
I parked in that vicinity for about 8 years now. You see some people that come and use like I think the main problem we see is people just using the middle of the road, there's no lines. I think that would be the problem. I think of making it one way is ridiculous, but that's just my opinion. Actually, that was a shock to me, because I didn't know anything about that. Oh, yeah, I use it both ways, and also too, if you're gonna make people go one way, so say for instance, if you're going one way from Adam to Sycamore, and then coming out and then turning left there, that's not any safer.
No, because that car you parked right there by the Hornsby,
Right,
that you can't see out of it either.
right. Well, I'm talking about, I guess
Oh,
Dogwood is what I should have said.
Okay,
Coming out like
up here.
across from Ace and turning left there as opposed to being able to turn left and get to the red light. I don't see that being any safer, but I mean, I've never had any damage to my car other than nails in my tires and all this years.
So can we just reevaluate this later? I mean, if it becomes a bigger issue, can we bring it back
You
up?
can outright deny it right now, and we keep an eye out for it, and if
Or
it
you can
becomes,
table
if it becomes a problem, we deal with it. I mean,
Table it. Deal with it later.
Road would probably be better than.
Well, we probably ain't got enough room for striping.
yeah, my concern
but-
is if you stripe it, people are just gonna ignore the stripe.
Yeah, because then
That's true.
I mean, I think people, 2 cars can't fit down there anyway.
No.
If they can, you gotta work it out anyway.
And if
I
you-
just don't see enough traffic going through there that you got 2 cars coming through there constantly in an 8-hour day.
And if you're gonna table something to study, I'm not sure exactly what it is you're studying.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean,
I just said table it and deal with it later when we find out how many, where'd the chief guest go to get it? He might went and got it.
No, he's right here.
No. Find out how many accidents there was over there over the years and then,
We have the capability of running a report on where the accidents were held, that's not a problem. We also have our own traffic data collector, that we can use, again, that's.
Just to get the car count?
If you want, we can get it, but
Does that tell which direction they go?
yes, it does. It'll give you north or south, depending on. Excuse me.
so you want to table and just see how many the car counts
yeah,
going which ways there?
let's just see what we got.
Just to see, I mean,
Okay.
Steve, is that your motion?
Yep,
Table to the next meeting, next council meeting?
yep.
second.
Okay, we've got a motion from Steve and a second from Tyson to table this item to the next council meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, so the next item is a resolution to adopt the language access plan related to CDBG funding. This is something we have to do every couple of years. It's basically a boilerplate language that in order for us to accept money that we receive from CDBG, Community Development Block Grants, we have to have a process in place for people who don't speak English to be able to ask questions. And so this actually adopts a plan that tells how we deal with that type of situation and who they need to call. Recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Right, got a motion from Steve and a second from Teresa. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, takes us to item number 3 for board appointments. Susan has provided you with a list of vacancies.
I'll like to appoint to the DDA. Mike, you want to do them one at a time? Can we do them all three at one time?
You could do all three of the ones for that board.
All right, Mike Owens, Michelle Dingler, and Tim Hutchison,
For which board, Steve?
DDA.
Okay.
Second that.
Got a motion from Steve and a second from Tyson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes. Are there any other board appointments we want to consider tonight?
I can run through them if that's helpful.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yes, please do.
All right, the next one up is Planning Commission, and they have two for consideration. The first one is Scott Gaither, who has resigned and asked not to be reappointed, and Glenda Brown, whose appointment is up. So technically, you have one vacancy and one opportunity to reappoint.
And who do we have as candidates for that?
We've received applications from Erica Steely, Michael Davis, John Miller, Kevin O'Brien, Andy Rape, Bobby Futrell, and Seneca Ellison.
I was looking at the boards and the representation on them, and there's no representation in District 3 on Planning Commission.
We have one application from District 3, that's Erica Steely, who lives at 133 Corby Lane.
I spoke with a couple of people in District 3 that might possibly be interested, given different considerations. Given this has been tabled, can we table this particular appointment to
Well, you gotta-
allow for further exploration in District 3?
Well, we don't have a chairman of the planning commission now,
So you have an act, but they appoint their own chairman unless we
unless you do it.
tonight. But that's appointing the
And
chair.
then, I guess my question on planning commission, if you don't appoint that tonight, given the attendance, will we have enough for a quorum to have meetings?
Can we take somebody that's already on there and appoint them to chairman tonight? On the existing list? Or has it gotta be a new appointment to be the chairman?
So we had this conversation with Nathan at the last meeting. Tony's son. He said that the way he read it was you could appoint the chairperson at the time you're appointing the other person.
All right, well, I'm gonna appoint Glenda Brown as to a new term and make John Garner the chairman.
let's get legal, cause he got his book out. So, that's good?
Yeah, you can do it that way.
And then there's still an open seat for.
Still be a vacancy.
They're gonna be an open seat. John Garner, the chairman, and reappoint Ms. Brown.
Okay, got a motion from Steve, is there a second?
I'll second, then I'll open for discussion. A second.
Okay,
I'm just trying to figure, is this the first time we ever appointed the chairperson?
No,
So we've appointed the chair before? Okay, that's the first time I appointed the chair, that's why I'm asking. All right,
Scott's probably been the chair for.
but we didn't appoint, I mean, I was on board, but I didn't appoint.
We
I was on
appointed-
board when Ken resigned.
we appointed Ken,
We appointed,
and then
Ken
we
resigned,
appointed Scott.
so we did appoint Scott as the
Yep.
chair? Yeah, okay, I'm fine with that, second. I'm good.
all right.
And then, well, I think we appointed the one before that.
No, I just know Ken, when Ken came off, I know Scott went on, but I thought they elected their chair at that
Yeah.
time. I
They
didn't think
can
we
elect their
appointed.
chair if we don't appoint somebody.
Yeah, I would say that's what, I thought they elected Scott as the chairperson and not as an appointment.
Okay, we got the motion from Steve, second from Tyson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, the next board up is the Main Street Commission. Lisa Pearson is up for consideration for reappointment, and there is one vacancy.
Nobody put in for it.
We have vacancy, let's see, applications from Seneca Ellison, Diane Cody, but I confirmed today that she does not live in the city. Allison Marks, who does also not live in the city, but she has a business address. And Josh Harris, who lives at 778 North Cherokee Road. The director told me this afternoon that Mr. Harris has been pretty active, helping out with events.
Since he lives in the city, I'll appoint Josh Harrison and Lisa Pearson. She's a representative for the bank. Make that motion.
Second.
And these are not by districts?
Huh?
No, I don't see any districts.
No.
Most of them.
Josh Harris is in District 1, and Lisa Pearson is,
She's not in district, she's out of
She's out.
state.
Yeah, she lives out on Knox Chapel Road, dead.
I just
All right.
know the young man Seneca is reaching out and really wants to do something in the community to be active. To be a part of the community and do stuff as well.
Okay, so we have a motion from Steve, is that correct? And a second from Tyson.
Tracy.
No, I didn't second.
Tracy.
Tessa.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
I'll say nay.
Okay. Motion passes 3-1.
all right, the next one up is the Social Circle Development Authority, and consideration for reappointment would be Mamie Phillips, Betty Ray, Tamika Nash, and Cody Morris.
And I got a question with this board. So planning and zoning, we term them out as term limits. They're gonna have so many terms, correct? And that's how we did that? They can only serve
That's
so
in the
many?
UDC, that's
That's in the
part of the
UDC.
new UDC thing.
So why are we not doing such things like that when we come to the development authority? Just,
Because we don't, I mean, unless they do something wrong, supposedly, we can't.
You don't have to reappoint them, I mean, it's not locked in, but you don't have term limits because it's statutory state law.
okay, I'm just asking, cause we're tending to start appointing people to the boards and they'll be on the boards forever. And then just other people don't get an opportunity.
The rules of how the DBA and the Development Authority work are set by state code, so those are both regulated.
I know we can't pull them off for no reason or nothing like that. It has
Yeah,
to be.
there's a restriction in
Yeah.
court case.
So once we appoint them, they're appointed for their terms.
And we may have to go back and look at that. We got more people wanting to be on planning and zoning now than we ever had. But the problem with it is that if you look at it,
they're all in two districts. And that's in Trace's district, my district. And it needs to look like the city. Needs to have representation from all districts. And right now, if we appointed the ones that put in, it would be, everybody would be from my district or Trace's district.
But I think that stipulation is a suggested stipulation and not nothing that's in stone. So if we're gonna make it in stone, then we need to make it in stone, because I tried to, I think before with the Development Authority, when I didn't have any representation on my district, we still appointed somebody out of your district into it.
But we couldn't get nobody to put in for it.
No,
Well,
we
I
did
thought
have
planning
somebody
and zoning
appointed.
had
We
two
had,
more
we had
openings
somebody at
opening
that
next
time
year.
that appointed, that had put in for it, but we still was somebody out your district, which I'm fine with the district. If we're gonna do this, we just need to make it in stone. This is how we're doing it, and not picking and choosing what board is gonna have representation for the whole city and what board is not.
Next year, you got that one, and then another one.
So I guess we have to figure out a way we're gonna put that in stone, that's how we wanna do it.
And some of the they will come off in 27. So you got two coming, so you don't lose them all, they staggered, so that they come off at a time.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying, because like the Housing Authority Board, I have no representation on the Housing Authority Board. And at the time, I had two housing authorities in my district with no representation towards the board. Now I only have one with no representation, which is fine. But at the time, I had two housing authority in my district with no representation. So I guess that's something else we can look at if that's how we wanna do it, if we wanna structure our board to look like the districts, then that's something we need to put in stone, and then that's something to start working to get accomplished.
I think with planning and zoning is more specific because it's such a large board.
Yeah, the Development Authority is large, and the Housing Authority is just as large.
Housing Authority is only 5 members, isn't it?
Well, the housing authority has, we only,
Five,
we don't
but
have.
we only appoint
We only appoint
two.
one.
We don't appoint two or something like that.
Yeah, that's
One
what I'm
you,
making
mayor
appointment
appoints.
for, yeah.
I'm just saying, if we wanna do it by districts and get equal representation, then I think all boards should be allowed to get equal representation. Now back to where we was at, I'm sorry.
All right, tonight, do we have a motion for the Social Circle Development Authority?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint Mamie Phillips, Betty Ray, Tamika Nash, and Cody Morris. That's it, to the Social Circle Development Authority. We appoint them.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Teresa and a second from Adam. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, and then the last one with,
Tree
appointments coming
board.
up, or the tree board. And, Creenan Mills and Lynn Mills, and then we have 2 vacancies.
I'll
Have
make a
any-
motion to appoint Creenan and Lynn back. Do you don't have anybody?
Do we have any?
Which
Lin-
one?
Lynn can't be appointed because she serves on HPC as
Okay.
well, and she asked to
We
not be
just put-
reappointed to
So we
tree
got
board.
3 members that we don't, that lead on that board.
They won't have a quorum.
We won't have a quorum. We have a meeting on Thursday.
Do what now?
There's a meeting on Thursday.
How many people?
But they can't have, they don't have
Standing
enough for a
room only
quorum.
for the tree board.
Are there other applicants for the tree board?
The only applicant I got for the tree board was, Seneca Ellison at 505 Pine Circle.
What do you think, Tyson?
Hey, let's try them.
Put him on
Let's
there.
put them on there.
I'll make a motion to appoint Senator Ellis to the tree board.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Tyson and a second from Adam. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, now that takes care of one of the vacancies. What about, reappointing Creenan Mills?
Oh, sorry.
I
Well, make a motion to appoint
Yeah,
Creedon Mills.
second.
Okay, motion from Tyson and a second from Adam. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, does that take care of our board appointments?
Yes, sir, thank you.
So I guess we need to advertise that we need, the tree board needs another member.
Yeah.
Put it out there several times.
Yeah.
Not one of those that, people wanna,
You would think some of these folks that's in the flower club or some of that
Yeah.
was put in for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
think
Or
so.
those gardeners that, we
Garden-
let them set the
garden club,
garden up
yeah,
down there in the
garden
park.
club.
Shelley wanted to do it, I just didn't think it was.
You didn't want
appropriate.
Shelley to do it?
No, she, I just didn't know it was appropriate. That's
Oh.
it.
Yeah, well. Okay, need for executive session?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to potentially discuss personnel, real estate, and litigation.
So move.
Second.
Okay, motion from Tyson and a second from Steve. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?